Hi, this is Ryan from xcannabis.com, and thank you for joining me tonight. Talking about the whole issue at the NORML Stash. NORML Live show has been discontinued, and the NORML Network as well, which I guess I understand in some ways. I mean, NORML is reeling back, and they've got apparently they've got a new chairman or director, and I don't know much about the situation other than what Russ reported today, and you know that is a pretty good example for me of why I do videos. I read Russ's words, and he seemed a little bit hurt or frustrated, but then I heard him, I watched him, and I saw the pain. I mean, I saw that he was pretty upset about it, and he's put a lot into NORML, and raised a bunch of money this time around for this, this event that they want to go to, and they want to, do live streaming of cannabis events and news broadcasting. That all makes a lot of sense to me. I applaud their efforts. I guess it has to do with funding, and I don't know if it's funding or whether it's just NORML is not pleased with Russ's performance, or his maybe it's the infighting and the name calling that we often see in the pushes for these initiatives and bills and stuff, where it's not just talking about the policies or the laws. Sometimes it's battling individually with people one-on-one on the stash, and just making kind of a real negative atmosphere. And I felt that. I don't go to the stash very often unless someone writes me and says, hey, you should check into this. This is something that's going on over at the stash, and this could affect you, and maybe you could give your input or something. And unless somebody tells me, hey, something's going on over at the stash, usually I don't even check in, because I just kind of got tired of the fighting. Although, I'm glad that there is a voice out there. I don't think Russ represents every single person that's fighting for cannabis legalization. I think, Russ has kind of disenchanted some people, but there are a lot of people who support Russ and his message. And the fact that there's media out there at all, and it's fairly professional. I mean, they do a great job. They've got lots of different guest hosts. They have Mitch Earlywine with the, the cannabis science, cannabis medicine topic. And, there's a lot of good aspects to the NORML live show. But, I think the second hour kind of gets gets into bickering and the incendiary remarks that are thrown back and forth sometimes come from that. And so maybe going back to a 30-minute show, we'll see, just the facts, not a lot of the infighting. I think it kind of needed a change. I didn't think they'd discontinue the live show or the network, but I think it did need a change. But as far as anybody who wants to do that, if you use Shoutcast or a Shoutcast server, WHM Sonic for cPanel is one option for that, where you can have different shows, different broadcasters, different phone numbers and things like that that tie into different shows, and link it in different ways. There's lots of different options out there. Or Blog Talk Radio, that's a great you get the Blog Talk Radio that costs I think $100 a month, and you can have all kinds of shows, and like 3-4 hours a day I think worth of shows in multiple broadcasters and multiple there's lots of different options. WHM Sonic or Shoutcast is unlimited and free, and it just depends on your bandwidth. I think WHM Sonic might cost $30 a year. I think that's what I paid for it, but it's $30 a year. It ain't nothing. That's the way to do it. Ustream, they do Ustream with NORML. I don't see why Russ can't carry on with exactly what he had planned, with the network and the different guests and the different hosts and all that. I know I tried it, and I just don't have a lot of time. I just don't have it, to spare right now with the new baby, the 2 other children, my wife, my grandma, my job, my business. We're just full up. I'm not a single guy anymore, and I've got kids. I know Russ is married, but he hasn't got any kids, and a lot of the activists out there have that freedom where they don't have a lot of things tying them down. So for those people, I encourage those people to do more. If they're able to broadcast. Start a newspaper. It doesn't need to be radio. If you want to report on things, do what we did recently. We just started a newspaper. This is our brand new newspaper, first edition. It's pretty badass. It's all full color, and it's got multiple different authors and advertisers, and I think we did a great job on it as our first newspaper, and it doesn't cost that much. As far as what Russ is talking about, the money that they raise every month from sponsors and stuff would easily pay for a paper. So these are just my suggestions. I mean, as it goes, technically I am a member of NORML, and I have supported NORML over the years. I counted it up. It's almost $700 that we've given to NORML since we started supporting NORML in 2008. Be it banner advertising, be it just donations directly for one event or another, or our causes.com donations that we totaled up $105 from that, or my NORML membership, and I paid $70 and got a T-shirt and a NORML membership. But over the years, we've donated about $700 to NORML. So yeah, certainly I want to see the direction go in a way that I think is pleasing to the movement, and less infighting, more information. I think if there was less bickering and less, hey, I think that guy's an idiot, or all the sarcastic remarks, if there was a lot less of that, I think there'd be more room to maybe campaign for Ron Paul, who wants to legalize, and who is a 12-term congressman who is very electable. They keep saying, Russ has said he can't be elected. Well, I think he's very electable. He's got, he's catching up, if not beyond what Romney has in delegates. I mean, he won 7 states that I know of just recently, and then I heard today it was 11 states. So somewhere between 7 and 11 states. He got Iowa, Maine, Nevada, Michigan, Washington State, a whole bunch of them. I can't name them all. And he's really racking up the delegates. And for 30 years, he said he wants to legalize marijuana. He wants to get the government out of personal decisions. Ron Paul can do that. Ron Paul, can instruct the different departments of the government, the Department of Justice, just like Obama said he would do, and kind of did for a little while. Ron Paul can approve or disapprove of funding for one thing or another via an executive order, just like Obama did. Obama, during his first week in office, refunded abortions throughout the world, abortion clinic funding that the previous president had signed an executive order to stop. So, if these other presidents have these powers to, defund or refund different government functions, then Ron Paul can do that as well. So, they could campaign for Ron Paul. They could do more, like in 2011. They could have done a lot more for Sensible Washington. There was a couple of reports on it, but it was an off year. There wasn't any elections going on. There wasn't, any national issues anyway. No national elections going on. There wasn't a lot going on in 2011. And Sensible Washington was running Initiative 1149. They could have done dozens of reports on what was going on in Washington and drummed up support for Sensible Washington, but didn't. Just gave a few minor updates on it, and one interview after the initiative had already failed. They interviewed the director of Sensible Washington, or the founder or whatever. They interviewed Doug Hyatt, but that was after the initiative had already lost the ability to get on the ballot. And so they could have done more. I think they could have done a lot more for a lot of different things, rather than the petty infighting. All the dissing of Roger Christie, the Church of Lighter Wallets and things that they were going off on, and just the personal, back and forth bickering that was going on. I mean, maybe NORML could have done more with the resources they had that people have been donating, for all these years, and maybe done less of the fighting and more of the actual reporting and more of the actual political action and activism, and supporting candidates who truly mean what they say and want to really see freedom, rather than all the other stuff. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, I'm not saying I am definitely sad to see this go away, the NORML Live show. I was even though I've had words with Ganja John, and ridiculous issues with a couple of them. Even with Russ, I still think that it's a valuable addition to the cannabis community to get all that information out there. But I listen to Time for Hemp on occasion when I have time, not a lot of time. I listen to the the Paul Stanford's cannabis. What is that? Oh, I don't even know. Cannabis Common Sense. I'll tune into that every once in a while. And there's a lot of people that are able to broadcast, that have great voices, great speaking ability, and can get on blogtalkradio.com for free and broadcast. Mike Can does it out in, I think that's, what is that, somewhere back east, Massachusetts or something. And there's just a whole bunch of broadcasters out there to pay attention to. And I also read a lot of newspapers. I love the Northwest Leaf. I'm starting to get into newspapers myself. There's and we've got a whole bunch of stuff about hemp in here. One of our biggest articles is about hemp, and it's titled "Governor Vetoes Job-Making Bill," when he vetoed SB 676. That was Governor Brown here in California, and I just talk about the benefits of hemp, and why it's ridiculous that he vetoed that. He should have, approved it and then let the federal government enforce their laws instead of letting the state help the feds enforce their laws. So I was pretty pissed off about that, and I wrote up, a 2-page article practically, about that. Well, it's 1 page anyway, but it's a big article. It takes up the whole page practically. And we got Celebrate Hemp History Week, June 4th through June 10th, and there's a lot that people can do. Media is important to educate people on the aspects of legalization and of cannabis in general. So, I just wanted to say shalom and peace, pot, and liberty, and vote Ron Paul 2012. And this one's for Russ and the Normal Live Show. I'm just gonna rip this big time. I'm gonna blaze it up. This is for you guys, and thanks for all you do. Now, one more thing is, see these chairs right here, these burl wood, this burl wood furniture set? I've got to tell you something right now. Now that is some real craftsmanship. You can come see stuff like this at our store. Check out the High Desert Trading Post, hdtradingpost.com, and come in and see some real craftsmanship. And we have lots of neat, interesting, handmade stuff that comes from our community, and even some people that we know from outside of this community that are friends of ours. And we just love craftsmanship. So we skipped out on the Keef boxes. They were just taking way too long. So we got a refund, and now we're doing other stuff, other woodworking stuff, and hemp-related stuff. We got a whole bunch of hemp stuff in, so check us out. Peace.